Okay, I had a communication problem about Christmas this morning, so we're still going to do it, and I do this just about every year. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. Oh, Jan turned it off, that's right. That's why won't it work? It worked before. Okay, enough of that. Hey, did you know that George Harrison was the only one of the Beatles that didn't write a Christmas song? And either. I don't know if I cared, but that was interesting, I guess. So. It's a little bit hot there. The unknown is what it is, and to be frightened of it, is what sends everybody scurrying around, chasing dreams, illusions, war, peace, love, hate, and all that. Unknown is what it is, except that it's unknown, and it's plain sailing. John Lennon. So, and the 12 Days of Christmas for PNNL. On the first day of Christmas, PNNL has a 50-year anniversary history, and it goes on. It's kind of cool, actually. Did you see that, Mike? Oh, yeah. On the second day of Christmas, PNNL gave you technology for the CD. Third day of Christmas, understanding aerosols. Fourth day, I gave us safer airports. They did the scanners, the science behind that. Sixth day was better fuel cells. Seventh day, more efficient engines. Eighth day gave us innovative cancer treatment. Ninth day, widespread energy savings, and it just goes on. Oh, PNNL, Pacific Northwest Lab, Bechtel. So, Sorry. Yes, that's quite correct. Yeah, not even close. Not even close. So, yeah, no, actually, and I hadn't been out in the area for quite some time. I went out there this week, and there's new buildings there. They weren't there the last time I was there. So, things that make you go, that which has always been accepted by everyone, everywhere, is almost certain to be false. Frequently happens. And another one by Nietzsche. What upsets me is not that you lied to me, but that from now on I can no longer believe you. Yeah. Ouch. Okay. And of course we do have two patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin. And more John. The basic thing nobody asks is, why do people take drugs of any sort? Why do we have these accessories to normal living to live? I mean, is there something wrong with society that makes us so pressurized that we cannot live without guarding ourselves against it? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And of course, George. I love and treasure individuals as I meet them. I loathe and despise the groups they identify with and belong to. Oh, and I kind of knew this, but I didn't know exactly. At latitude 60 south, think about that. Does anybody know what that is? It is possible to sail clear around the world without touching land. I never knew it was 60. So now you know. See, you learned something going to church. Better than going to school. Okay. An alley was originally a walkway, but later the meaning came to include narrow passages such as those between houses in a city. When baseball became popular, alley came to stand for imaginary lines running between the outfields. A ball hit straight down the alley would usually mean extra bases. Some baseball sluggers liked to brag that they had alleys that belonged to them. When these sluggers got an easy hit, it was said to be down their alley. From the baseball field, this expression came to mean any task specifically suited to one's talents. Interesting. That stuff always does fascinate me because you always kind of wonder where things come from. Hey, we're doing good with the food drive, but we'd like to do better. So if you want to just bring in food, not cooked, if possible. So do what? Oh, pet food. Yeah, good idea. Dog food, cat food. That's a great idea. Yeah. Anything else? Bird food? Hamster food? Sometimes the thoughts in my head get bored, and they go for a stroll out through my mouth. It's never a good thing. I think I may have written that one. Sunday school teacher asked Johnny, do you think Noah did a lot of fishing when he was on the ark? Well, no, replied Johnny. How could he? He only had 2 worms. The Lord is my shepherd. Shepherd. A Sunday school teacher decided to have her young class memorize one of the most quoted passages in the Bible, Psalms 23. Everybody's going, Psalms? I have no idea what that is. She gave the youngsters a month to learn the chapter. Little Ricky was excited about the task, but he just couldn't remember the psalm. After much practice, he could barely get past the first line. On the day the kids were scheduled to recite Psalm 23 in front of the congregation, Ricky was so nervous. When it was his turn, he stepped up to the microphone and said proudly, "The Lord is my shepherd, and that's all I need to know." Save the day. I heard a guy complaining about how expensive his wedding is. He's going to be real pissed when he finds out how much his divorce is going to cost. All right. God loves everyone, but probably prefers fruits of the Spirit over religious nuts. God promises a safe landing, not a calm passage. He who enters you controls you. Well, that was a Freudian slip. He who angers you controls you. Okay. Same idea. Same idea. Okay. Okay, come on, get it out. Get it out. Just. Yeah. Hi, YouTube. Everybody knows I'm an idiot sometimes. It's okay. I'm okay with that. Okay. In ancient Israel, it came to pass that a trader by the name of Abraham Com did take himself unto a healthy young wife by the name of Dorothy, whose close friends called Dot. Dot-com was a homely woman, broad of shoulders, long of leg. Indeed, she was often called Amazon.com. And she said unto Abraham, her husband, "Why dost thou travel so far from town to town, and thy goods when thou canst trade without ever leaving thy tent?" Abraham did look at her as though she were several saddlebags short of a camel load, but simply said, "How dear," Dot replied, "I will place drums in all of the towns, and drums in between to send messages saying what you have for sale. And they will reply telling you hath the best price. The sale can be made on the drums and delivery made by Uriah's Pony Stable, UPS. Abraham, though, long and decided he would let Dot have her way with the drums. The drums rang out and were an immediate success. Abraham, I have to be careful reading this one. Abraham sold all of the goods as he had at top price without ever having to move from his tent. To prevent neighboring countries from overhearing what the drums were saying, Dot devised a system that only she and the drummers knew. It was known as Must Send Drum Over Sound, MS-DOS. And she also delivered a language to transmit ideas and pictures, Hebrew to the people, HTTP. And the young men did take to .coms trading as doth the greedy horsefly taken to a camel dung. They were called nomadic, ecclesiastical, rich Dominican Cypriots, or nerds. And lo and behold, they were so feverish with joy and the new riches that the deafening sound of the drums that had no notice that the real riches were going to that enterprising drum dealer, Brother William of Gates, who bought off every drum maker in the land. Indeed, he did assist on the drums to be made that would work only with Broker Gates drum heads and drumsticks. And Dot did say, "O Abraham, what we have started is being taken over by others." And Abraham looked out over the bay of Ezekiel, or eBay, as it came to be known. He said, "We need a name that reflects what we are." And Dot replied, "Young, ambitious Hebrew owner-operators, Yahoo!" said Abraham. And because it was Dot's idea, they named it Yahoo.com. Abraham's cousin Joshua became the young, gregarious, energetic, educated kid geek that he was, soon started using Dot's drums to locate things around the countryside. It soon became known as God's own official guide to locating everything, Google. And this is how it all began. True. It's true. Yeah, I know. Whew. That's right. Okay. Let's... Oh, wait a minute. You're going to sing.
No, I'm going to play.
Okay. Who's going to sing?
Tracy, do you want to do yours first?
Let's
do that first.
And actually, we had somebody else. Oh, you had something to say.
I think I'm set after meeting.
Okay.
Before we do the
Okay.
Okay, I do have I also have single sheets as well. Thank you. I think that a Christmas tree is in there. Get one? Now there's also in the songbooks, they're kind of all mixed up. Some may not have, but I think they all had the Silent Night, No Christmas Tree at least. So we at least have two of the songs you guys can, and hopefully the rest of you know the words to the songs, so we won't have to worry about it. I'm just going to hang out with you and maybe kind of get started and then Are you guys ready? Upside down. Okay. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me two crystal clear Toby in her cat tree. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me three spirit guides, two crystals clear and Toby
So in case you haven't been here for very long or whatever, we do spoon bending occasionally here at the Divine Fellowship, hence the 5 bendings, please. We had a squirrel run in the church, and usually Phil will have squirrel moments where he's talking about something. Squirrels have a sacred place for us. What else? Saging, we do saging. Crystals, we do clearings. What was that?
Feathers.
Feathers. I brought in a bunch of peacock feathers, and we learned how to balance feathers. And the whole purpose behind that was because you can't balance anything while you're looking at the point in your hand, to look at the tip. And by focusing on where you want that to be, body automatically will balance, will follow, track it. So it's really cool. Anyway, so I love that because we're just odd people. We're just odd. If you haven't figured that out, we're odd. In a good way. We've been talking a little bit about angels and their assistance in our world. And, sorry, it's warmer up here than it is in that. So, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of other ones tonight, or today. If you've ever, gone to sleep and you go in your bedroom and it's dark, and all of a sudden you see light, those are angelic presence. Did you know that? So if you experience that, that's what's going on. Because you can open your eyes, it's still dark. Close your eyes, and it's light. It's really kind of bizarre. But that's a situation where angels are present for you. So I've had a couple of other angels show up. that wanted to chat with us. We talked about last week about how we can have trauma in our life and that'll create this tear. And often when we have a tear, we will try to fix it. Rather than healing, we'll try to compensate for it. So if we have a trauma that leads us to having a sense of being abandoned, instead of healing that abandonment trauma, we tend to just attract to ourselves people who we feel or experience that would have a balancing energy to that. And it doesn't really work. So if we have this abandonment issue, we might try to fill that with someone who feels strong and steadfast. But really what we're finding, or what we tend to draw to us, is people who are aloof and distant. Because they probably have wounded issues that they need somebody who's needy, because if you have an abandonment issue, you might be needy. They may need somebody who's needy to need them, and you need somebody who won't connect with you fully because connection is dangerous for you. You can't risk being abandoned again, so you need to attach yourself to somebody who can't really give themselves to you completely. Make sense? And then that makes this patch doesn't really work real well, because guess what? It's not really fulfilling. But it is a patch. It'll get you through. It's a survival thing. And it's because of that we generate situations in our home life and in our work environment and in our relationships that reflect that. So whatever situation we'll find, it appears to be an equal and opposite unhealed state of being that we connect with. Okay? So when we heal, then these unhealed situations will dissipate. I was watching a video the other day about tapping. Have you ever heard of tapping? EFT, emotional freedom techniques. And there was this woman who was so afraid of being criticized because she had an illness and she was a tapper. Not tapper, but tapper. And so she was afraid of that because she was afraid of other people's judgment. She didn't want anybody to know she'd been sick. And so the leader of this discussion was trying to get her to accept, not accept the illness, but accept all aspects of herself. And what he wanted her to accept was the critical, judgmental part of herself. And because when she could accept the critical, judgmental part of herself as it's okay, then she could heal. Because there's a part of her that wanted that part of her to die. But that's part of who she was. So she was bringing this illness or keeping this illness from healing in her life by resistance. Resistance is futile, it just doesn't work. But resistance is something that we naturally create. And often when we're creating the healing for ourselves, or we're creating this patch, we create this resistance. So the very thing that we want to heal is the very thing that we keep creating situations for so that we don't heal. When in fact, one of the things that will help us heal is to bring awareness into the situation. So as soon as she could accept the fact, I'm just critical. I'm critical of myself, I'm critical of others, and I don't like that about myself. I'm critical about being critical. Mm-hmm. And she could get well after that. Because often when we have awareness, it shifts everything. So if I realize, I've had this abandonment issue, so I keep attaching myself to people who can't really fully love me, but if I can get to a place where I stop abandoning me, then people will show up in my life. They will be here for me. If I can be at a place where I stop being critical of me, then others don't have to show up and reveal that criticism to me. If I can be in a place where I can let go of, I don't know, pick something, whatever. If I can take that energy and attach it to me, and do for myself, heal myself, bring that kindness to myself, then other people will reflect that. Because other people are going to reflect to me what energy vibration I'm holding. If I'm holding the energy vibration of rejection, then people are going to reject me. And if I can accept myself and love myself, then people will be more loving of me. Have you ever seen the movie What the Bleep? Yeah. And there's a little section in there about this guy who was very much criticized. And he did a lot of work on himself so that he was more accepting and loving of himself. And he'd been really bullied. And he had bullied people at work. And the more loving and accepting he became of himself, those people transferred out. And the people that were replacing them were loving and caring and supportive. It starts here. And here's where this angelic help comes in. Because sometimes we pick people that reveal to us this stuff that we're ready to heal, but it's a challenge. We just, it's not easy. It's not easy. And sometimes it's okay to just recognize our picker's broken. We picked the wrong job, we picked the wrong relationship, we picked the wrong neighborhood, because all these things outside of us are not feeding us what we need. So we just have to recognize, okay, my picker's broken. And then we get to have spiritual assistance. You don't even have to know where the wound is or what fake bandage you got on it. You just recognize, okay, it's all screwed up. I was doing a class the other day. We were looking at pendulums. And we were looking at the chakra system. And holding the pendulum, had somebody lay down and holding the pendulum over the different chakras. And we held the pendulum over one particular person, and their chakra, it was the solar plexus. And it was wonky. It wasn't going in a circle. It was weird. And so we just said, what's going on with that? And she said, well, this is about self-esteem. This is where it was. She says, well, I just felt like, you guys have been meeting all this time, and even though I'm part of the group, I haven't been here much, and I felt like maybe I wasn't going to be accepted. The second she acknowledged that, pendulum rotated correctly, open and smooth. Then another person was on the table, doing really good, got to her throat chakra, and she says, oh, if you can find my throat chakra through my back. That pendulum went dead stop. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, talk about that. What's going on with you? Well, I guess speaking ill of my physical being isn't serving me anymore. The pendulum started going in a circle. So just bringing awareness into something is huge, because once we have that awareness, then these two new angels that I want to introduce you to today can take effect. Because one of them is hope, angel of hope. And the angel of hope doesn't have to have the answers. Now, hope is different than expectation. I expect you to treat me like I expect to be treated. That's not hope. Hope is that, gosh, my picker's broken. I don't know what I'm doing. But I hope it'll get better. And this angel of hope holds sacred ground for us and opens a doorway for the angel of grace. And the angel of grace is unmerited favor. You don't earn it. You can't be good enough. It's not about being good enough. It's not about being deserving. It's just a gift, a divine gift. Before I met Phil, I had to talk with God. He said, oh God, my picker's broken. I don't want to do. And you almost could hear God laugh, right? And so it was like, had hope that there would be someone that would be right for me. I couldn't pick it out. I'd pick out this particular person, and oh my gosh. Man, it was like a really rotten Band-Aid. It was not good. So when I met Phil, God knew what he was doing, had him stand behind me, and he asked me if I wanted to dance. And I heard his voice, and my heart went, "Ding, it's the one." And I went, oh crap. like, turned and looked and was like, oh, you are so not what I would have picked for myself. And I said, thank you, God. Because this is totally not what I would have picked for myself.
That's the guy that was dancing on tables a minute ago.
I told my friend, I said, oh, keep me away from that one. Because I just cannot handle that. Oh, apparently I can't. But having that awareness and being willing to allow divine forces to assist us. That's what it's about. And this angel of hope comes in and supports and nurtures that hope, nurtures us and gives us a sacred ground so the angel of grace can come in and work these wonderful, miraculous things in our life that we can't even expect. And I can tell you, every time I let go of, I think it should be a certain way, and move into a place of, I wonder what's going to happen now, that amazing things can happen. As soon as I get out of expectation and move into hope, I hope that there's some really good stuff here for me. I hope that something will come and bless me, that will be something that I can't even imagine. And then this angel of mercy just brings these beautiful things to me. It's just pretty unbelievable, unbelievable. So I'd like to introduce you to these two angels today. So let's do before we do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to share with you, because these two angels are here for us, and they're asking of us to be willing to do it differently. You know, I don't know if it's AA or whatever it was. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always had. Oh, that's so true. But change is really, really hard. And I want to share with you in Ephesians again, chapter 4 again, verse 28. Let him who steals steal no longer, but rather let him labor, performing with his own hands what is good, in order that he may have something to share with him who has a need. Okay, so we gotta do it differently. Here's somebody who steals for a living. The cure for that is to work so that you can share. Whatever we're doing, there's an equal and opposite that will help us overcome that. If you want to quit smoking, you do something different, right? If you want to change your eating habits, you do something different, right? And you become willing. And your preference is to do it differently. We talked about preferences a little bit. Preferences are so powerful. Because if I have to have bacon and eggs for breakfast, and my cholesterol's through the roof, okay. Well, I like bacon and eggs, but I prefer to have my cholesterol lower. So I'm going to prefer oatmeal. Now, let's be honest. Bacon and eggs do taste better. But I prefer to have a healthier breakfast. So I'm going to prefer, and makes that choice so much easier when it comes to making that choice. Then I don't have to wage this war internally every time I go out to breakfast. That makes sense? When we have to, they've done some tremendous studies. I will bring some more information on willpower and how weak willpower is. Willpower isn't powerful because it requires this mental activity that is constantly having to be renewed. And we wear down, especially if you have a stressful day. If you work hard, you have to make this decision and that decision and challenge to this and fix that and do this other thing. Anytime you have a lot of mental activity, comes time for your willpower, it's already used up. So this preference system takes us out of the willpower and needing to make a choice. And your preference is already set. I prefer to have my cholesterol lower. Then those choices they're not grueling because you've already made the choice, that you're already in that place. We talked about Fred walks every day. He doesn't excuse me, he doesn't have to get up and say, am I going to walk or am I not going to walk? He walks. The choice has already been made. He prefers to do that. So when we can use the preferences, it makes it so much easier in our world. So back to the angels. The angels are here to hold sacred ground so we can get to that place to prefer something new. Because when we have expectations of this is how it is, and our inner brat takes over. I want what I want, and I want it now. I want bacon and eggs. I don't care. I don't care what my cholesterol is. Until I'm in the doctor's office, and I guess I do care. So when we can have a preference that fits for us, it's powerful. It's really, really powerful. And sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. My picker's broken. I go to breakfast and my picker's broken. So I can have hope that maybe I'll make a different choice today. I can hope that my preference will lead. And then this angel of grace can come and give us what we don't have on our own. Who says we have to have it on our own? You know, we have this beautiful gift that's been given to us. And we can have access to that. And we can do it differently. It's hard to do it differently unless, of course, it's not. It gets to be easy. And it gets to be easy when we apply human nature to our benefit. Human nature says, I like it a certain way. And when we can allow that to fit in with what is our divine purpose, oh my gosh, we're unstoppable. You know, we're talking about, most of us are going to be doing New Year's resolutions. So I want to talk about manifesting in January. There's stuff that we got to get ahead of time because you can't just manifest. You know, there's stuff that we got to do ahead of time. And this is setting us up for it. Last week we talked about clearing bitterness out because in order to manifest something new, we can't hang on to the old pain. And today, I want us to get a concept that is important for us to recognize that we don't have all the answers, and we don't have to. We don't have to have it all figured out. It gets to be easy from here. I'm all about easy, aren't you? Aren't you tired of hard? I'm tired of it being hard. Let's do easy for a while. So let's look at an introduction. I want to introduce you to these two angels. So let's take a deep breath in.